Hello everyone. I'm excited to finally put this together. So when I started my journey learning to code, and definitely I needed to make use of text editor to you know do anything I needed to do while coding. It was a daunting experience for me. Like, I know many of us as beginners must be experiencing. Okay, so these guides that I'm about to share really helped me to get my feet grounded while working with VS Code and coding. Now, we all know that coding involves so many things, and amongst others, we have the fact that we need to write code. We need to launch whatever we've done in our browser to to view everything that makes up our code. Then we also debug, and we debug for so many reasons. Amongst many of those reasons are the fact that we need to correct our mistakes, and also we need to make our codes look better. Now, why am I doing these videos? The purpose of this video is to share the tips and knowledge that have made it easier for me to work on my projects as a beginner using VS Code, and hopefully at the end of this video you find it useful to you as well. Now, the goal of this video is to reveal certain shortcuts and ways that will allow you get your tasks done in record time. You know, for me, I've been opportune to work with some beginners like me, and I see how daunting it has been. I see how hard it has been for some people to get the hang of using VS Code, editing what we've done, finding mistake, looking for files, getting started, using the terminals and all of that. And this is why I'm making this video. Okay, so to start with, let me show the highlight of what we want to discuss today. Okay, so today we want to discuss about Git Bash. We'll be discussing about how to launch projects to VS Code using Git Bash. We'll be discussing how to change terminal shell. We'll be discussing how to set up the structure for your HTML project using just one symbol, the exclamation mark. Then we'll learn how to search globally on VS Code. Then also we'll discuss more shortcut tips. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, back to this. Okay, so I want to believe some of us might not understand what Git Bash is all about, but I'll be putting a link as part of this video below so that we can access the download for Git Bash. So what is Git Bash? Git Bash is an application for Microsoft Windows environments. It provides an emulation layer for a Git command. So if we are collaborating or we're making use of version control, which we all know that the most popular version control we have right now is Git. So for us to put up our codes up there, we need Git Bash. And so we need to download Git. I'll put in a link below for us to download Git Bash. Then also, once we have it downloaded, this is the way to make use of it. So for instance, I have a folder here. So I'm going to call this folder, I'll give it a name, say shopping, say e-commerce. Okay, so if I want to launch this project on VS Code using Git Bash, I do not need to search for my VS Code, open it, then go through the file like maybe most of us normally do. What I just need to do, because I have Git Bash installed already, I just right click on this, then say Git Bash here. So the moment I do this, So it launches the terminal for me automatically using this file path. So where my folder is located. So all I just need to do is use this simple code. Then I need to do code full stop. So this is all I need. So once you just have your code and full stop here and you just click on enter, it launches VS Code for us automatically. So now we have our project here. So without going through the process of looking for VS Code, on our PC and then launching it and then looking for our file, going to file, going to open folder and all of that. We just launch it from wherever it is located, whether our desktop or document or external drive. We just launch it from there. So now the next thing is launching the skeleton of our HTML projects. Okay, so the first thing is we need to have a new file. So this is, I'm going to name this index. .html. So automatically this file is an HTML file. So please note this file needs to be saved as an HTML file for this particular code that I'm about to share with us to work. So once we have this, all we need to do is to launch the whole skeleton for our project, the HTML structure, what we need, the anatomy of the HTML for our project. What we just need to do is to do exclamation mark. So once we do this, it launches Emmet abbreviation. This is one of the benefit of using a text editor like VS Code. So what we just need to do is tap on this, and we have what we need to start our project. So we have the metadata, we have the doc type, we have HTML, we have the head, we have the body, then all of the foundation to start up our project. So we have that for us without going through typing them out. So that's the first thing. So first thing is you save your file as an extension of HTML, and then you just click on the exclamation mark. So that is the first thing we need to get out of the way to get to this. So the next thing we would like to talk about is how to change terminal shell. How to change our terminal shell on VS Code. Okay, so we all know that Microsoft Windows has its own shell, which is the PowerShell or the CMD, the command line shell. So now this is where we need to talk about what shell is all about. So shell is a terminal application that is used to interface with an operating system through written commands. So it allows us to write our commands and say, okay, we want to go into this part. We want to initialize our Git. We want to push to Git. We want to do all of that. We do all of that through our terminal. Like we communicate through those commands to OS, then it interprets it and then fetch our results. So how do we launch terminal on VS Code? So we go to terminal, then we go to new terminal. So now it launches our terminal for us. Now we can expand it by, let me expand this. So when we come to this environment, this is the shell that I'm currently on right now. This is the default shell that I have on my terminal. This is CMD. This is the default shell I have, but yeah, I might decide to change this. Like I want to change it right now. Now this is the shortcut to do it. So we just click on Ctrl+Shift+P. So it takes us here, and then we select default profile. So this is default profile. It takes us to this environment. So we can click this, and if you have Git Bash installed, you can just select Git Bash, and here what we just need to do is to close our editor and relaunch it so that it refreshes it and then selects the default that we've selected for us. So we're going to exit the VS Code and then we'll launch it back. Just what we did earlier, Git Bash here, code, full stop, to launch our project. So now we can click on this and then we can change our shell to Git Bash. Then we remove this. So now we have Git Bash here. So you can see that the environment has changes. This is the way Git Bash displays its own command line. If I sit back to CMD command prompt, see, look at the way it is displayed. But Git Bash displays it like this, Okay, so now if I do, we are into this folder. If I do git init here and I say enter, so we check what we have here. You can right click this, then you go into our file explorer to see what we've done. So that here I've initialized my git command. Look at the folder here, we have git, so we have initialized git here. So the whole essence of Git Bash is that it emulates the layer for Git command. So the next thing we'd like to talk about is how to change terminal shell. How to change our terminal shell on VS Code. Okay, so we all know that Microsoft Windows has its own shell, which is the PowerShell or the CMD, the command line shell. So now this is where we need to talk about what shell is all about. So shell is a terminal application that is used to interface with an operating system through written commands. So it allows us to write our commands and say, okay, we want to go into this part. We want to initialize our Git. We want to push to Git. We want to do all of that. We do all of that through our terminal. Like we communicate through those commands to OS, then it interprets it and then fetch our results. So how do we launch terminal on VS Code? So we go to terminal, then we go to new terminal. So now it launches our terminal for us. Now we can expand it by, let me expand this. So when we come to this environment, this is the shell that I'm currently on right now. This is the default shell that I have on my terminal. This is CMD. This is the default shell I have, but yeah, I might decide to change this. Like I want to change it right now. Now this is the shortcut to do it. So we just click on Ctrl+Shift+P. So it takes us here, and then we select default profile. So this is default profile. It takes us to this environment. So we can click this, and if you have Git Bash installed, you can just select Git Bash, and here what we just need to do is to close our editor and relaunch it so that it refreshes it and then selects the default that we've selected for us. So we're going to exit VS Code and then we'll launch it back. Just what we did earlier, Git Bash here, code, full stop, to launch our project. So now we can click on this and then we can change our shell to Git Bash. Then we remove this. So now we have Git Bash here. So you can see that the environment has changes. This is the way Git Bash displays its own command line. If I sit back to CMD command prompt, so look at the way it is displayed. But Git Bash displays it like this, Okay, so now if I do, we are into this folder. If I do git init here and I say enter, so we check what we have here. You can right click this, then you go into our file explorer to see what we've done. So that here I've initialized my git command. Look at the folder here, we have git, so we have initialized git here. Okay, so the next thing we want to discuss about is how to search globally on VS Code for any file. So we'll go quickly and launch our VS Code, and then in order for us to see how this works, let's create more file. So I'll say okay, let me just create a folder that I'll call my JS. So inside my JS, I want to create new file. So I'll say script. Pardon me, my PC keypad isn't working, so I have to use the internal keypad. Okay, so let me rename this, and so I can add script dots. I can add the extension for our JS. Okay, so I have script.js here. So I can just quickly do something else. I can just quickly add another folder to say CSS. So in my folder, I just right click and I create another file, which is style dots CSS. So we have this folder. So if I want to search for any of my folder, I could, because depending on how big the project is, I could have say 20 files, I could have say 100 files. So I want to locate these files. I know the name of my file, but I can't just go through the file structure all the time. So all I need to do is say Ctrl+P. So if I say Ctrl+P, I'll have this pops up. So it allows me, so most likely it gives you options to see the latest file that you've opened, or you just search for what you want. Look at it. So it automatically opens the file for you after you've been able to search it. So yeah, I can easily switch my file tab depending. I can decide to close this. I can decide to, let's look for another one, index.html. Open it, click on it to open it. So this is how the Ctrl+P searches for all the file in, on the file in that project, depending on what you open on your VS Code. So it is different from Ctrl+F. If I do Ctrl+F, it just searches this particular file that I've opened. So that is the difference. So when you use Ctrl+P, it searches globally. It searches everything globally for whatever you might be looking for. So that is that about using Ctrl+P to search globally on VS Code. So the next thing we want to discuss about, so let's quickly go to our highlights, is more shortcut tips. So this is another thing that has really helped me to navigate through VS Code. Is that, say for instance, I want to start, I want to develop my web page. One of the things I use is, like say for instance, I want to create a list. I just do UL, then pardon me, I have to use my internal keypad now again. So I just use this greater than sign. This is a closing tag for HTML element. Then I want to use 5 lists, for instance. Just say L1 raised to power, say 5. And when I say enter, it just populates everything for me automatically, closes the tags, and just open the list. So that is one way to to quickly get access to the tag we want to work with, the elements we want to work with. There is more to using the shortcut. I'm going to put a link in this video on Emmet snippets, so that we'll go and we get to understand more on how to use it. Another way to quickly make changes on our code, if for instance I want to type, say, class on, I want to type I want to prefill this with the same value. I just put my cursor wherever I want to start from. I click that on the Alt key on my keypad. The Alt key is Alt. So I just click down on it, and I just ensure my cursor is there, and I type. Automatically I'm able to do whatever I want to do using that altogether, without having to do them individually. So that is another advantage of, I was able to feel it here because I guess my cursor was also there while I was typing. So that is another advantage of using another shortcut. So for us to get more insight into using shortcuts on VS Code, I'm going to share the link here down below. So if there is anything you want us to discuss about more, please let's put that down in the comments below, so that we get to discuss about them more, and get to understand how to navigate through VS Code easily. So thank you so much for tagging along with me all through the session. Hopefully learned at least one or two things from everything we've discussed so far. Thank you so much. Until we meet next again. So I'm hoping the next part of this session will be on Git, how we initialize Git. Although we initialize Git here, but we've not really done so much. How we whatever we've done here, push to our account online, which is the GitHub online, and we work on that also. Okay, so for now, we'll call it a day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Bye for now.